So $1 million this year in your info product business. I guess, what does that feel like?
Obviously, it's really, really cool and we talk about it often. But I'm proud of myself, but job's not done. I saw people who are my friends in the agency space and they had 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and they were making this exact same amount of money I was doing. And I was like, what am I doing wrong?
A lot of people do randomly launch another product business or something and it fails because you just don't know enough.
How do you know which ones to work with?
If you generally have 70% of the same sex following, and if you have 50% plus same location following, you have a more monetizable audience than the other person.
I think LinkedIn specifically for me is still very much a quality-based platform.
Essentially, the best sellers that I've ever worked with are the ones that have the most people that are exactly like them that follow them. Someone, gun to your head, you have to get it to 1 million followers in 3 months. Then what stuff would you do?
I would double down on content and I would probably be posting twice a day.
So $1 million this year in your info product business, Literally Academy. I guess, what does that feel like? Because I know obviously where you came from and everything else, and that's pretty substantial.
It doesn't feel like anything. Honestly, I've been enjoying the ride. I think every single person that creates a product that they love so much, they just want it to be the best. So it's nice to have as like a stack of authority. But I feel like I've been so busy trying to deliver on everything that is what I'm following towards rather than the end number. Like obviously it's really, really cool and we talk about it often. But I'm proud of myself, but job's not done. You know, we have so much more to do.
I guess initially you did like tried a few other things, right? Then you, I guess, now have this info business. Why that change?
It just makes the most sense. So before I started working with you guys, I was doing the cohorts and they were fine. They were great, especially for cash, like immense, like so much money could be made during a launch for a cohort like that. But then I realized like, if you break down my audience, there's only so many people that can afford that high ticket product. And then the next most reasonable thing I could do was create a low ticket course so we can capitalize on that audience that I had and also help people that didn't have the money to afford a $2,000 program. So I knew I had the knowledge. All we needed to do is, create a course that helped them get there, and it's working.
I guess before that though, right? Because you, I guess, were trying to do a few, like an agency business or business to then, I guess, move and settle into, I want to like basically have an info product business. Is that a conscious thing or was that always the goal? I guess because it's like so profitable, etc.
So it all came down to leverage. So I saw people who are my friends in the agency space and they had 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and they were making this exact same amount of money I was doing. But I had 50,000 followers, 60,000 followers, viral posts, multi-million impressions, all these things. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And so I spoke to a bunch of my mentors and they were like, Lara, like you need to actually start either coaching consultant, like stop trading money, time for money, And at the time I was only like 25, 26. And creating a course at that age just doesn't make sense for someone because there's so much stigma around courses already, scams, or like you're just not knowledgeable enough to create a product like that. But for me, I had all of this demand. And I knew that if someone had the exact same amount of audience that I had, like they would use that to create a course like that. So why was I not letting myself do that just because I had this limiting belief that either I wasn't good enough to create a course or that they were a scam, which most of them are. But then that gave me so much, to go from to try and make it so valuable that it's just not a scam. It's actually something that people can use and grow.
I guess interesting you use the word scam. Obviously, I've been in this space for almost 8+ years. We sold the first course 2017 or something. It was like an English language course for a YouTuber. I think her name was like Results with Lucy or English with Lucy or something. And yeah, I guess now in the last 12, 18 months, right, if you're a course seller, you're like, it's a scam or you don't have like a real business. What's your thoughts on that?
I realized that information is power, knowledge is power, and it's at the top of the food chain, I think, where you're distributing all this information and people that can grow businesses. And what I think about courses is I am a course addict. Like I bought every course. I'm like, I will buy. And so for me, it just made the most sense because I am the consumer of the product that I'm creating. So it was so aligned with me. The problem is that people create courses, but they have never either taken a course. They've never benefited from one and they don't like them. So that's what makes them not as good because they don't understand them. Me, I knew exactly where the course platforms were, what people needed, what a good course actually means to me and then creating one as a result. But, you know, I've taken scammy courses that I've spent like my last like cents on when I was trying to grow my business. And even those I look back at and they taught me something. They told me what not to do or what to do or what I could incorporate. So yeah.
Well, what's that scammy course though? What do you mean by that?
So my first course that I ever bought was like a social media marketing course, SMMA, by this girl on Instagram that one of my friends referred me to. And she was meant to teach me how to make my first $10,000 online. The course wasn't even video. It was all text. It was hosted on a shared platform. We had a Facebook group and it was all about how to create Canva things. Like there was no insight. Like I already knew 10 times more than she was teaching, but the way she was marketing it was like, oh, look at me in my Lambo. Like this is how you can, be a social media manager and live in Dubai. And I was like, you're not teaching me that. Like, I hate you.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, when people say that is, I think obviously e-learning as a whole is so big. Obviously, even schools have platforms that kids can like use at home and stuff. And the biggest universities have courses. I think a course just is information packaged to you to watch online. For me, I guess where the info product space comes, or with the whole scam thing comes, when someone's teaching you a way to make money. And then you're right that they'll advertise it that the thing I'm going to teach you is going to get you from A to B and all the success is going to come. But then in reality, that information just isn't detailed or good enough for that to happen, or the time span just isn't true. Is where the thing comes from, I guess, on the outside. I don't know how many people, and then people buy it, and then they don't get the same success, and then they'll be on Reddit or wherever saying, like this is it's not good, it's this, and then that's how the thing starts. I guess it is a challenge in the space though for anyone that wants to start, because you're worried about being labeled that. Like some of our creators that we've done it for, even with Grace, I've been telling her to do it for like last 6-7 years, and it was always that I don't want to be labeled as like I'm a course seller now or I'm scamming people, because you're worried about how people perceive it. So when we did hers, you had to like go overboard on like the messaging to make sure they're not saying that you're going to get, I think even in a video, she's like, I'm not saying you're going to grow or make more money if you buy this thing. It's almost like prefacing it that it's not that, but I'm going to give you lots of information. You apply it, see what happens. Yeah, for me, like, I think that's like the big scam.
So after working with so many creators, like what makes you decide which ones to work with? Because obviously there's so many different archetypes, right? Or the ones that, are fluffy, but they have big audience, and the ones that have a big audience aren't fluffy. How do you know which ones to work with?
It's a number of things, actually. I think firstly, holistically, what works, because I have the data, if you generally have 70% of the same sex following, and if you have 50% plus same location following, you have a more monetizable audience than the other person. Because I've done the same analysis. When you were growing, I was like, why is this creator A selling more than creator B? When they're almost like identical in like the way they post content, the way they, come across. And even the numbers are the same. So if you start looking at the actual demographics of the audience, it starts to become obvious, like, oh, okay, because the person who's not selling has Brazil followers, India followers, etc. followers, or different age groups. So we did the full analysis, and essentially the best sellers that I've ever worked with are the ones that have the most people that are exactly like them that follow them.
Interesting.
So if you are 27 from LA, you're female, XYZ, if the more of those exact people can follow you, they will buy from you. It's direct correlation between it. So that was the first thing. So now then, when we search for someone to work for, that's one of the first things we're looking for in a general sense. Obviously with yourself, LinkedIn is a bit different, but in the world of YouTube, Instagram, well, we can pull the data and see for anybody. So I can search anyone's profile. We built an analytics tool called Genetics, which allows us to search anyone's profile and pull the data and analyze it. Then the second thing from there is, it would just be like growth of obviously the content performance itself, audience growth itself. And you can start seeing this person is essentially like on the track to be successful. Then there's the qualitative stuff, which is, do they speak on camera? How do they come across? And you can see in that has the actual content improved over time. And then, they're actually practicing the game of content. Actually getting better at that, or they're just doing the same thing over time. So that's probably our like biggest thing that we look for.
Just data driven then.
Basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you my YouTube analytics.
Where people are coming from. But yeah, I think the data. Number two would just be, I guess, in that first conversation, you can always tell. I think now especially is like who actually wants to like has the ambition to do it, because it's very easy to make 20, 30, 40K a month, and a lot of our creators would do it fast. But then it's from there when it gets a little bit harder, because then you have to do stuff that, you have to make ads, you have to do stuff that you didn't think you would have to do, and then you have to start tweaking your own content, your own messaging, and a lot of people find that hard, because it's like, yeah, but I was doing this thing that's working, but to grow, you have to like evolve that, and that's the hard thing. So normally it's ascertaining that when we speak to someone.
I like it. Simple.
Yeah. I guess so if someone was to start their own info business today, being that you've gone through launching your own, what kind of stuff like would you tell that person from what you know today?
I have so many people that come to me and even are taking my courses, and they take my course on personal branding to then teach other people how to build a personal brand. And the point of my product isn't to create this like almost like pyramid Ponzi scheme of like people teaching how to create personal brand from a course that teaches people how to create personal brands. That was not the point. And so when you're trying to decide what to sell, it needs to be something that you're essentially good at. Like, what is your main skill? So I had the agency, and then I built personal brands off the back of that. But I had all of this like demand for clients and results. So then I could easily productize that into a product that could be sold on like evergreen, right? So the best way that people can start their own, like launching their own things, is start with a program like I did. I did a cohort as a test because I wasn't sure if I could sell a course, or I even wanted to, or if the knowledge that I was going to be sharing was good enough, right? I tested it out, A/B tested twice. And then seeing the success of that, I was like, okay, this works. I can now productize it. Too many people ship too quickly onto the product space because they're seeing everybody doing it. But the reason why everybody's doing it is only the top 1% that are doing it. And only like the 0.01% are doing it right and actually making the millions. But everybody else is creating these products and wasting a lot more money on like Saco and everything else because they don't have the traffic, they don't have the demand, and they don't have the expertise. So nailing those three fast and then actually productizing is the best way possible. I had this as well. I took this other SMMA course, and one of the things they give you is ClickFunnels, right? And so for like a year straight, I had the course, and I already bought my ClickFunnels membership, which ended up being like $1,000 after a year. And I never used it once because I couldn't even do that yet because I didn't have the expertise to sell something like that. So using logic is simply the most useful thing, really.
It is crazy, obviously, the amount of people, because you see someone successful. I guess the way I see the info product business being in it is someone sees somebody do something that's working. So they're like, I want to do that now. So you're right, they'll probably buy that one, try to reverse engineer it, and then have their own version. Which just means that you may be able to monetize some people, but if you're not building it actually based on what you actually know and do, it's not going to have any longevity. I guess brings me to the question, I guess LinkedIn specifically, when is the right time to monetize? Because you're right, now it seems like everyone is running their own how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, right? It seems like the time for it.
What do you think of that, by the way? The personal brand boom. You've seen so many booms in your like eras. What do you think about this one?
I think we've talked about this on one of our calls. Like, personal brand is like, it's like saying to someone, like, be healthy, right? Because it's the most like obvious thing to say. Because of course, if you had a personal brand, it's only going to be good for you. So I think it's funny because everyone's entering at like level 1, and you're right, lots of people are entering at level 1. So for me, it's like, it's obvious, but it's weird that no one is thinking, let me come at the same thing, but with an angle which is more, a bit higher up, meaning that you are saying to someone, it's not about just exercise or eat healthy. It's about, you need to learn, do your blood work, see what's wrong with you, and then you go ahead and do or eat the following things, or you exercise in the following way. So someone's coming at an advanced level, because I do think people that do want to start doing it for themselves are smart enough to realize that. So yeah, I guess with any trend, it is that as soon as it starts to work, everybody's there on entry level and then competing at price or who has this, who has more videos. Like, it becomes that. When it becomes almost like a price war / it's basically a long game of losers, but the winner's going to come who has like his own way of teaching the same thing. So I guess, yeah, and I think the other thing that I feel about it is that it has always been around forever. I guess it's the thing that we're just saying, if you build yourself an audience, what can happen on the other side, right? And now it's like it's personal brand as the buzzword. Yeah, and I think part of that as well, it's crazy how many small creators are now teaching other people. So yeah, I guess the opportunity is ripe. Everyone's making money. Everyone can make money. But I guess, yeah, from my point of view, it's, I think the opportunity is there to go for someone to, I guess, like do it better.
How do people capitalize on these trends though? I know you've seen it, like that's why I admire your work so much. There's like trends right now is personal brand and community. What do people do wrong and what do people do right?
Yeah, I guess, look, there's nothing wrong with looking when the market opportunity is there to like jump on it. 100%. Like, I still do it. Even with this drink right here, the market opportunity was nootropics is becoming a thing. Let's jump on it. So I do that all the time. I guess, again, it's just someone who's thinking personal branding, launch 3 cohorts, and they wouldn't know what else to do from there. The point being is that where people go wrong is that they're not thinking, okay, this is the way to start something. Let's use the market opportunity. But then where do I actually want to take this from here? Like just the strategic thinking of how do I use this opportunity to turn it into a business? Like what I did. So I initially realized in the fitness space, people weren't selling content. Okay, so the opportunity is to help them sell content properly. And that worked. But see, I could have just that. But the reason I managed to scale was like, okay, but surely other creators also could do this that are not fitness. So we worked with like beauty creators. I did like beauty masterclasses and people were selling them. Then there was like a language course. Then I even did a slime course. It was like, she was the biggest slime influence in the world.
That's cool.
And we did a course on how to make slime. The point is I was testing the concept of, am I selling content or am I selling fitness? I realized I was selling content. It wasn't the fitness that was the monetizable thing. So then, okay. So the point is, I guess, you should always use a market opportunity to like enter a business space, the business world, start your business. In my opinion, you use that to then find the thing that you should be pushing for. And that's exactly how I managed to build, like, the business I'm in today. So for me, it's like, yeah, the smart way would be, is like, even for yourself, right? Like if it's personal branding, we realized this idea that we are teaching potential business owners, you know, the benefits of having an audience. It's the entry point. Yes, then we could have multiple products, but there could be more after that point too. And I think that's how my brain works, I guess, is like, where does it go?
You're more like zoomed out rather than zoomed in.
Basically. And that's like, I guess, because that's what happened in my business. And so I would say trends always come, but the people that do that are the ones that end up building something really big. Even like Gymshark. The reason I say it is because we have the shop opening on Saturday for
I saw it. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, no, she's actually just arrived today. So we got that on Saturday. And it's same with them. Obviously, at that time, it was like girls want leggings that are like sculpting. Did it worked, but they didn't stop from that, you know. And the thing is that it doesn't matter if it's an info product business, it's the same thing. Business-wise, that you launch something, it works, but then you need to know how to scale from there. Otherwise, you will be a guy who sells a bunch of courses, and then 18 months later, you have a whole new thing now that you're positioning and selling. That's what like a Ty Lopez does or whatever, right? Like every 18 months, it's a new thing. Because you need something new now because they can't like scale the one thing. And if you want to build anything that's valuable ever, you have to scale the one thing.
Yeah. Do you not think that, I think I even see it with myself, like I pride myself so much in the one thing that then I refuse to see the other things because I'm like, no, I'm so good at this. What do you think about, how do you shift that mindset to the creators that you work with? That you have to actually diversify. Like there's just, yeah, you're good at this, but there's also so much more.
Two types of diversification, right? It's not that you like start another business, like you started a beauty brand. It's not that. It's within this business, where could it go? It's like really understanding the consumer, your customer, right? So let's just say, we have small creators and we have business owners. Focusing just on business owners, it's just about thinking like, now that I know that they are interested in building their brands, what else could be sold to them over time, right? Like, what is that? Idea would be, is there some sort of certification? So then you pitch the actual business itself, right? And then they're going to do that and it means why. Is it that we're actually selling an in-person training for a corporate business that are paying 25,000, for like a day? even if you're not teaching it, it could be teachers that are teaching it. Boring, but it's by thinking like that, like the end person that's willing to pay. How could I get to them and to the who to make more money out of them?
Yeah.
Again, it depends on ambition. Or yes, you can keep this business where it's at and you look to diversify into other things, but that's harder because they need to have enough knowledge about other things to launch other businesses in other areas. Is why a lot of people do randomly launch another product business or something and it fails because you just don't know enough. Because going back to what you were saying, that someone like launching a personal branding course that doesn't not even like knows enough. It's equivalent of that when people move into a new category. Yeah. I guess with yours today, obviously you get a lot of customers organically. But where else or how else would you get customers today? Or I know that obviously we're doing a bunch of things, just so it's more like useful for the people.
So
things that you have to do.
For me, like building an organic audience has been the biggest leverage point for me because I already have nailed that community element and that messaging style that we don't have to overly spend money on ads trying to make me an authority or like even test the messaging because we already know. And I've been able to test that out for free for like 2 years. And I think people sleep on that a lot. Too many people, I think, over rely on ads and under rely on organic content. I think the measure both is the best. And now, honestly speaking, I never thought that this single source would be the best one, but it's email. Email has attributed so much revenue towards the businesses, but I thought it was dead. But email isn't dead. It's literally the lifeline to my business right now. We've I think the last launch, it was like 60, 70% we attributed to email rather than organic content. That just blew my mind because I just would have never thought people would buy on email. But that to me was a big lesson on understanding that not everybody buys the way I would buy. And even if email is as old as it can get, when it comes to sales, it works for a reason. It's literally you own the audience. You then can message them every single day. You get them, you can talk to them directly and they can just buy. And they already have this kind of like very almost like fast hand connection with you that you wouldn't get on social media because they subscribe to you because they wanted to. So email is definitely a thing. Ads as well. They've been very interesting. I'm definitely getting a lot more awareness and people do message me about them every single week. So it's been interesting, but email for sure.
No, for sure. I think we see email as such a strong thing. We have a couple of creators of like a few 100,000 like people in their list, easy. And it's the number one driver across the whole board. But it comes down to good copywriting though, which obviously you naturally are good at to be able to then sell via email. But I think it's mainly because it still feels personal when nothing on social really feels personal. And even if you were to comment or leave something, a lot of people will never leave a comment because it's lame to do so.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you not comment on my LinkedIn posts?
I don't think I ever have.
Good job.
But I do remember though, when I saw your name, I think Jar was telling me like which LinkedIn people we should work with. And you mentioned your name. And I was like, I think I've seen that name before. And it was because I've seen your name comment on mine. But I always assumed that you're just paying someone like in India or someone to say and like comment on everything. Because I would see you comment on, I'll see your name or in my feed, like you comment on lots of stuff. And I was like, oh, it's obviously like some person that this person's hired because they're like always commenting. So yeah, that's actually how I first saw your name.
Yeah, I always made a point to leave funny messages, funny comments so I could make a good impression.
So yeah, I guess so a lot of people won't leave a comment, so you wouldn't have a way of interacting. But on email, people will hit respond and like email back even to ask a question.
Yeah.
So if you like do a bit of engagement farming like on email, lots of people will respond. Yes, we found mass revenue through email for sure, especially when it comes to offers. Because on social media, it's very hard to be like, it's a sale. But if you have the email, you can be very aggressive and it doesn't really annoy people that much. Even if some people will unsubscribe, it's still okay. So what we have found with the creators is that we can be super aggressive on like messaging and daily emails pushing an offer and it leads to sales and you don't need to do anything on the front end.
Yeah.
So the beauty of email is that you're selling in the background, nobody knows.
That's what I've been enjoying more about building an email list. I think we've grown it now to like 30, 40,000. I don't know which one, but it's allowed me to keep my positioning as like not such a salesy brand, but in the background, we're like actually producing a lot more revenue because we're actually using email to our advantage, which is nice.
What's, I guess, some of the stuff you see? I guess now people are teaching personal branding, teaching how to make money in this space. What do you see as like what people are saying that's wrong? You don't agree with?
What do I want to? People think that you should be posting every single day on LinkedIn. I think it's wrong because then people resort to very low quality content. I think LinkedIn specifically for me is still very much a quality based platform. And when I see, people overcompromise quality for quantity, and that just reflects bad on people's brands. I can see it. My clients can see it and they hate it. So that, I think.
On that though, right? But isn't it a game of just to, I guess,
volume?
Yeah, because like if I was to post 5 times amazing versus 10 times, if the 10 times reaches more people, is that not a good thing?
For me, I'd rather keep the quality up because that's what people have loved me for so far. But I do understand that people would rather produce more volume to get and reach more people. But I think it comes to an inflection point where your expertise can then produce that much volume. Definitely you need to get the reps in to try and get that. I did that instead of using my brand, I used other people's brands to get better at writing. So I wasn't compromising my brand and having like really shitty posts, but I was using my clients to then get better at writing so I could complement mine. And so I didn't have to post that much to get that amount of reach.
But you say quality, right? But what does that mean? As in, is that a data thing? As in, amount of people you reach, the comments to, the ratio of comments to reach, etc.? Or is it just?
I think I measure quality in the how long are the comments that you're getting? What is the reception of it? If it's just like, oh, great post. Like on LinkedIn, I see it all the time where it's like we've turned into infographics, posters of like people saying like random things on billboards and things. That is not high quality. That is like, to me, is just posting for posting and creating, farming more engagement and farming more followers. And yeah, that's good for some people, but it won't work for everyone. And I see it all the time. And for me, when I'm taking more time to deliver a step-by-step breakdown on LinkedIn and how to do X, Y, and Z, how to launch your first product, how to do a copywriting framework, whatever. And it takes me a little bit longer and I can't do that every single week. The comments and the messages and the involvement and also the community that I've been able to build is a lot more, I guess for me, it just feels better. Like I feel like I'm actually delivering something that can change a life rather than just posting just to post every single day. But that is my approach.
Let's say someone gun to your head, you have to get to 1 million followers in 3 months. Then what stuff would you do?
I think I would double down on content and I would probably be posting twice a day. Yeah, but I there's a reason why I haven't done it because I'm not ready for that yet, but I will definitely be posting twice a day.
So if you can post quality more often, then yes.
Yeah, do it. The problem with LinkedIn and my issue is that LinkedIn's algorithm isn't as good as, let's say, TikTok or Instagram, where it pushes you to like the algorithm straight in the For You feed. You're way harder to find on a typical algorithm because if you are new to a platform, let's say, you don't have that many connections, then you don't have first, second, and third connections, right? First connections are the ones that you are directly connected to. Second connections are the ones that you are one connection away.
What is the LinkedIn home as an example, right? Like, because obviously TikTok is like interest-based. Instagram historically has been follower-based, and now they're putting your interest to or what you think you would like. To be honest, I've never scrolled my feed on LinkedIn because it's just terrible. And I have all these connections that I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
I don't use it properly, but how do you think it works?
Well, what we've seen is that the more first connections you have, the more visibility you get, right? And so when it comes to posting volume, it doesn't really work as well as it was on TikTok because on TikTok, you're served to an audience every single time. It's a pool of audience and then the algorithm can decide whether your post is good. LinkedIn works kind of the same, but it's more of like connection to connection basis rather than people's basis. So the reason why I actually reduce my posting is because I'd rather spend that time making more connections so then I can get more visibility and I can double down on that, right?
So you're saying your post is shown to, it's basically like if you have lots of connections, then your posts will be shown to those connections.
Yeah. So what LinkedIn does, and we have data on this, LinkedIn will show your post to a pool of your first connection first. And if those connections like it, then it will get pushed to their second and third connections, right? So the idea is, and that's why even, Ja here, people delete their old connections from work or whatever because they're dead. And if your post is being shown to those people, then that's why your content isn't working. That's why I started my LinkedIn account from scratch, because I had a feeling. I didn't know what, but I had a feeling that this could be happening. So I started my LinkedIn from scratch, started a new account from zero, added active connections that could actually push my content forwards rather than decrease it. Because algorithms, if they see that your content, no one's liking your content, then they're not going to show it to anyone because they know it's bad.
Do you actually pay attention to your connections then?
As in adding more connections? Yeah.
And
so
like who they are and stuff?
Yes. So I actually have around 4,000 connections. The average LinkedIn user has around like 15,000, 20,000. I have been very careful with minding that. And luckily on LinkedIn, you don't have to connect with everyone to to get more followers, right? So that's what I've been doing. And back in March, I had a massive dip in engagement. And what we did was I made a point that every single day I would add 20 new people into my LinkedIn to get that engagement back. And it worked like a charm. But it's different. Like, it doesn't work like TikTok or Instagram, which is a shame. And like you said, the LinkedIn algorithm is just not good enough yet, because LinkedIn isn't a social media platform.
I guess, well, they're trying to be in every way. But yeah, I just looked at mine, 15,086 connections. It's because anyone that adds me, I just press yes.
Yeah.
Because the thinking was the more people that I connect to, the more people, I guess, would see it. But yeah, I didn't think of like so many of them are just like random people that are trying to like pitch me something. Probably I would say 90% of the people.
They try and pitch you something, then they leave because their business model isn't working. Yeah. And then they never engage with you.
Yeah. No, it must be full of it. It's interesting, right? Because I think most people that are connecting with your LinkedIn, I guess for me are not people that I would want to have in my audience, quote unquote. I didn't realize that connections is your audience. There's also followers, so it's like confusing.
What I see LinkedIn as is like a little game of politics, right? Is how many people do you know that you can't actually leverage your advantage, right? If you're connected with so many people that you don't know, that you can't really leverage for anything, then you're losing. So it's more like keeping your circle tight and then letting them follow you as a result.
I guess then you're a bit more, careful about who you connect with. If someone's trying to outreach you today, what would you say to them? Like, what's your advice to someone trying to actually get your attention?
Honestly, I used to love the outreach of like, hey, I did this for you for free. And I think we both love that approach, but I think it's been so overly used now that it doesn't even work anymore. I get so many new videos. Hey, Lara, we did this strategy for you for free. Check it out. 10 minutes. I just don't, it doesn't work anymore. So I don't think what could work. That worked before like a year ago, but now I'm like, I don't need any of you.
Obviously, it's different in your current position, for sure. I guess, but if someone wants to stand out today to try and I guess, offer you something, what does it need to look like?
Definitely like providing free work. I'm the biggest proponent of free work. I still do it till this day. And it's like, we did this for free for you. Here's the thing. There's no strings attached. You get to see their value. They're not charging you. It's not like an exchange. It's simply they're offering you something for free that's solving a pain point. So the last person I hired, they sent me like a screenshot of my click-through rate like last year on email. And I'm like, I didn't even know you could see this. And I ended up hiring for like $5,000 like for like 1 month. I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, I know you know something I don't know and you're fixing my problem. And I didn't even know I had it. So that is probably the best way. Too many people outreach me and they're like, hey, Lara, we can write 10 to 20 pieces of content for you for your LinkedIn. I'm like, that is my thing. Yeah. You shouldn't be offering me that. You should be offering me like, how to expand to another platform or anything else. But people definitely need to be more aware of the problems that your client needs solving rather than the thing that you want to sell.
Yeah, I guess in my experience of outreach, and I've had a lot of success. The 2 has built the whole business at the back of, I call it outreach. And the whole idea has always been, the most simplistic is that you have to be the expert, message someone and say, this is a problem you're experiencing, or this is an opportunity, and this is what I could do for you and how I would do it. Don't gatekeep it. I hate the ones that like, respond so I can send it to you. It's like, you should just send it straight up.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
People then say, but it's deliverability and whatever else. Like, all of that only works if you're like spamming people. If you have a good email address that you actually use, most time your email will get to somebody, or your LinkedIn message should get to someone. And it's that simple. Like, that's simple in my eyes to, so I think it is still doing it for free, but a lot of people that do something for free is like, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. You gotta make sure the thing's good enough. Like, a lot of people send you a short form clip, right, and be like, we'll do it for you. And you click play and it's like, it's actually so poor.
Or it's AI.
Yeah. I get the most now. I'm sure you get it too. It's like, oh, your YouTube is so bad. I can help you get more views or whatever, right? Because you're posting on YouTube. But it'll be like, how? Like, what are you going to do that's actually going to do that? This claim that you're making. You're a tiny agency, probably based in India, and you're saying you can double my retention. Like, you don't even know what my retention is to say you double my retention.
Why do you think people do that? Like, someone's obviously teaching this.
I guess obviously it's the thing, right, that everyone's teaching these days. It's the model that you have to have a big promise. So you can cut through the noise. So the promise is we can double your retention. Then it's like, it's got to be a time frame. So, in how many days? And then there's got to be like some guarantee because you think it's definitely going to happen. I guess it is right. It's the framework that's being taught. What I find in most of the, advice that's online, people make logical statements to get someone else to believe, because that's how you sell something. So someone would be like, oh, logically that makes sense. So I'm going to give them like something that sounds really good. It's going to happen fast and there's going to be a guarantee to it. Obviously someone would say yes. Because I think one thing bad about the info product space is people sit and almost like orchestrate information that will sound really good and be logical. So then someone would want to buy it. And in that, they lose the actual practicalness and the thing that actually works. So people are selling something that sounds really good. So the buyer's like, oh yeah, this makes complete sense. I want to do this. And then they sit and try to do it. And then it doesn't work. And that's why it's full of it. I actually posted on LinkedIn yesterday. This guy goes, his outreach message was, I'm having like a scan. Just give me 1 second. I'll actually put it out. And this is where I guess what people are teaching me. He goes, I just spent 2 days in a South African hospital. I've been scammed out of a $2,000 CT scan. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have both of my kidneys. I thought I'll spend some time recovering. So I thought I'll reach out and hook you with the same transaction system that made my client Serena something 100K in the first month of running it. Care to chat?
What?
And so, and this obviously, and then I don't know if the guy is real in the comments. One guy's like, oh, he's like my coach and, this really works. He gets 97% response rates. So, this is like, well, this method works. And the guy has like 500,000 followers and he teaches like he's a sales coach or something. So you have some guy. So I guess it's this stuff. So the truth is that in the whole info space, someone has to come up with something so bizarre.
Yes.
That other people will believe that this is going to work. No one thinks simplicity will work. But the truth is, if you just write a genuine message to somebody where you can actually help them and do something, but a lot of people are pitching either me or you to do something that actually don't have the skills to do it.
So
in reality,
back to that YouTube agency, pretend, how would you fix their offer? Like what actually could get your attention? Because the big promise works, but obviously we know that it probably doesn't work.
For me, honestly, just one insightful thing. So all the guy has to do, even today, if anyone's listening to this, watch my video and just say from 1 minute to 3 minutes, instead of you like speaking in this way, doing this thing or doing this, or it was edited in this way, I would do the following and actually have a real insight there to be like, I should have less overlays. I should do this. I should do this. I should do this. So they actually tell me what that would be and then have something that proves that why you think this thing is going to be the thing. That's it. Right. And no one is taking the time. So that YouTube founder, and I honestly, if you spend like 20, 30 minutes crafting like a really good outreach message to X person, you will get their response because you've actually, like you said, like, oh, you can help me with something real and you actually have a skill. That's it. But a lot of the times those guys will be fixated on getting 100 outreach messages out and not put any effort in because they think if I send 100, 3 will respond. It's good enough. So something about the offer, I'll fix that approach by just slowing down and trying like properly.
So more personalized?
Yes, but I think I don't like the word personalized. The personalized people think mean like, like a first line.
Hey, Lara.
Or, like a line of personalization. For me, it's just one step more because it means you have to have some skill that the guy would have to actually watch my video and actually be able to identify what the problem is. Because let's say if I turn around to 10 of these agencies today and said, all right, cool, I'll pay all 10 of you. The chance of them actually being able to deliver something which actually will have better results, like the chance is very low because they actually just don't know enough. And a lot of people start an agency because they think it's going to make them money, not that they actually have that skill that they can actually like get benefit from. So that's what I would do. And that's how I've managed to, I guess, sign people is like massive clients or even brands is that we would pitch someone. We had this with like MAC Cosmetics. We just said to them that you don't have, like young urban audience, doing this. If you work with us, we can put this creator with you. And then we ended up doing a deal with like Jodie Woods, and she was 16, which is like multi-six-figure deal for her to be one of the faces of MAC Cosmetics. So just positioning. Even with Gymshark, this thing happening, we positioned to them that why aren't you going out to the Muslim market, because Nike and everybody else not really paying attention to it. They have like your basic full sleeve top and a hijab, and that's it. But like, why aren't you doing more? So we went in with a pitch of like what that could be. So like identifying a problem. I know it's a very different scale, but the thinking is the same. That if you can just identify a problem or an opportunity and be able to actually say what it is, to anyone who's smart on the other side, will be like, yeah, like tell me more. But instead it's like, we'll just double your retention and we'll do this and we'll do that. There's lots of stuff that anyone that has any sense will just be like, you're just saying these like numbers and big words, and it may work on, I think, other uninformed entrepreneurs, but not anyone that can actually really pay you for a long time.
So with the hot outreach, do you call it?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Like warm, cold, hot. But like,
I guess for me it's because I'm trying to make it as personalized as it physically possibly can be, because it has some actual insight into the thing I can fix for them. So simple as, if I was emailing, I'm a paid ad agency, I want to sign D2C brands, right? I would go and look at their ads and then say, nice ads, but if your hook was this instead of this, it would work better.
mm-hmm.
I know that because I've been doing it for other people. And straight away, that's so much insight to the person reading. You'd be like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Like the hooks aren't good enough. And if you're pitching any like slightly larger brand, you want the person you're emailing to email his team and be like, guys, I've just got this email. Like, what do you think? And when the team respond to him saying, oh yeah, this sounds good, we could try it. We had a company called Perceptis pitched us, and we started working with them. They basically manage just funnels for mobile apps. And the guy's like, this is your funnel today. This is what it could be. Here's data that proves if it was like this, it would do better. And it's like, of course, in our business, we're like, let's give this a go. At least let's jump on a call with this guy and see what he can do for us. And it's just that. So when I call it hot outreach, because I guess how I grew the business was by manually sitting myself one by one and emailing people and just doing that. It was like, you are X creator, you are doing Y thing. I think that's wrong. The right approach is this. You should do it like this. I can actually help you do that. And we've just like kept that way over the years. And I guess I actually wasn't even aware of all these other methods that people are doing out in the market, because I guess what's worked for us, it just worked. So yeah, I guess that's what I refer to as hot outreach.
You still do it till this day?
The truth is we do it very less because we're not actually trying to like sign many, but if we were to, it would be the same. So like, right now we are working on launching a new thing. We're calling it like the incubator, essentially taking our info product knowledge and putting it into a product that people can buy, because we don't service anyone generally that we think will sell less than $1 million a year, but the market is too big. So part of that is that we have an outreach team. So I have a team in the Philippines who we then train. So they will sit, and now their job is to find people who are already selling a course. And then we will be going through the same thing. They're checking, do they have a pixel on the website? If not, that means they've never ran ads. So then the outreach should be geared towards, the hot outreach should be, you're not running ads. If you were, it would be like this. And these are the ads you could do. So very clearly someone's like, I should do ads. Mm-hmm. Similarly, if someone's price, offer, what I would do in that situation is like, it's so easy to know if someone's thinking this is a success or not. If there's nothing on Reddit, if there's no reviews, if no one's talking about it, if you can clearly see this, like I launched a course and it sucks, it's a chance for us to pitch them to be like, buy our thing. So I would just, I would train the team to do that. And then the outreach naturally, it's like slow it down. And it would be like, I saw that you launched a course, but I can also see that it's not been that successful. Mm-hmm. I would just say it. Instead of saying that we can get you 3 times more customers, I would say the problem, which is, I can tell it's not been that great because there's nothing on it. So one thing I love is where creators create second accounts, like for their brand, because obviously it's great data to be like, they launched a brand, but it only has 4,000 followers. Obviously the thing, it sucks and it's not doing well. So it's great for someone like me, because I need you to tell me or have it more obvious the problems in your business. So it gives us a chance to go and say we can fix them.
Nice.
So that's, I guess, our approach to, and what I would say to anyone, to be able to win. I guess what's the goal for you overall? What are you trying to achieve?
With the info product business?
I guess, as an entrepreneur.
I just honestly want to achieve my full potential as an entrepreneur. I still struggle to call myself one. I think I'm a content creator still, because that's all I do, and it somewhat managed to create income. And so, doubling down on like the business right now and trying to diversify it to different products and then scaling with ads, I think that would give me the more expertise to actually think of myself as an entrepreneur. Because I was saying this to my friend Chris, I think I've been playing the entrepreneurial game on easy mode, and everything feels like monopoly money. And so I haven't had like all of these struggles like hiring and everything for me to really believe I am. So I'm always seeking more knowledge and trying to work with people like you and just absorb. I'm still being a sponge to everything and trying just to be my best.
Yeah, I guess my advice would be that if you become like a student of entrepreneurship as a whole, but that means like learning like numbers, learning finance, learning X, Y, Z, the things that you like naturally would not be good at, then you will overall start to mature and get better. Than I guess people I've worked with like over years who have like matured right in front of me, including myself. It's been that like being able to build your skills holistically versus like becoming very good at content. That will naturally allow you to like have multiple businesses from here.
Yeah, it's hard. Finance is not my skill. I don't know anything, but yeah, excited to do that.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Me and Lara, Lara's business is literally Academy. Check it out if you want to build a LinkedIn business. But anyway, see you guys next time.